Hello.
Ah,
How are you? That's Golden Globe winner. Congrats.
look, thank you so much. How you doing? How you
I, I,
feeling?
I'm doing good. How are you? How are you?
Oh, I'm good, man. I'm on a vibe. I feel like I'm feeling the sun hitting me. I'm in the sunny days. We in a good energy right now, man.
How does it? I guess it's been what, 2 days since you won? 2 days, right?
Yeah, 2 days. Oh my good. And I have to say, I really, really love your hair. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
Thank you. I like your mask. How does it feel to have won, that award?
Oh my goodness. It feels like such a combination of so
Hmm.
much in my life, my parents, my grandparents, my whole lineage is I feel like they're smiling on me. Love it.
Hmm. You absolutely deserve it. For those who don't know, this is EW Songwriters Camp, and we are here with the one and only the Golden, the jazz musician, the most amazing, talented man, Jon Batiste. It is an honor to be talking to you guys. Thank you all for also joining in. Um, Soul, like, how did you get involved with Soul? Like, how did that all happen?
They called me in and I worked on it for 2 years. And over that process of working on it, I really got close with the team at Pixar, Pete Docter in
Hmm.
particular, Dana Murray, Kent Powers, and of course Trent and Atticus. And it was really a very collaborative process. There's moments in the film, for instance, where there's dialogue that I wrote or had music that was meshed into what is considered to be this the score, but is also just a part of the characters and the way that they kind of relate to each other. So I just had a great time figuring that all out and learning how to do it in such an innovative way. Sometimes we would make music and there wouldn't be picture drawn yet. So the picture usually is set before you make the music, but it was such a non-traditional process that they really created a great playground for us.
And I know that you taped their show in New York. Were you working with them on the film in New York? Or were you going back to LA? How was that? I guess the process like.
Oh my goodness. It was back and forth between doing the show. I was working on my album in my dressing room. I was flying to LA, Capitol Studios to record the score. We did some sessions in New York. We even had a few listening sessions. We went to LA and listened to some things and then figured that we wanted to record them in New York because of the energy. So then we flew back to New York. Just it was a really busy time. It just felt like everything was happening at one time.
And how did you focus on each individual project? It seems like that's a lot to be juggling and managing. How were you able to focus on one thing at the time and not let the whole process of the movie and the Colbert Show and your own solo work like just become too much?
Yeah, for sure. It was a good thing for me because I like having a lot of different things happening at one time. A lot of different forms of stimulus. Just having a. I like working and having projects blend together almost, and that's really a good vibe for me.
And so we've been in quarantine for, I guess, about a year now. How has that, I guess, has that changed your creative process of anything? Like, are you more creative now? Are you less creative? How has being in quarantine affected you as a musician and a creative person?
It's been really changing my internal life. I think about a lot of stuff that I want to do and realize that, you know, if you didn't get to it before now, you see the urgency of getting to things and not waiting.
Yeah.
And so it makes me think about stuff that I want to create and want to build and try to use this time to set it up. And before I was always like that, but when you're busy and you're working on a project and you're wrapped into things, you it's hard for you to envision the other things that you want to do. You always feel like you have time to get to them.
And so, I guess, what are some things that you've been able to do in the past, outside of, winning a Golden Globe that you just probably would have never thought you were going to do?
Oh man, there's so much stuff. There's so much that's happening that I feel like there's a lot that I haven't even fully processed yet that is happening right now, not just with me, but in the world. And there's a lot of creative energies in the air that I think um, we can find new possibilities right now, creatively and I'm just interested in working with people and collaborating in ways that help me to continue to expand and evolve. I don't want to do anything that's been done before. So I just want to continue to open the possibilities up to reach their fullest potential, you know. That's what I'm thinking about right now.
And so I guess how does that change your upcoming album? Because this is, you have your new album coming out called We Are. How does this energy, this excitement, and this like change, you know, you coming into this album? What's different about this album that your other projects don't have?
The timing. Every project, you know, the timing of your life and the timing of what's happening in the world around you, society, your community, the greater world, and how everything has changed so much even in the last year. The conversations we're having in the public and the things that we're thinking about just creates the opportunity for you as an artist to present another side of yourself. And as you evolve and as you grow, you just get better. So I just think that where I'm at as an artist, and also what the time and everything about right now is bringing to the table, makes it a really special thing for me to present to the world. Specifically, you know, it's coming out next month, which I feel like is just perfect timing.
And when did you start recording this project?
Oh my goodness. I started recording this record in 2019 in my dressing room, 6 days in the dressing room, where I have, you know, Autumn Rose, Kizzo, producer and songwriter, and a bunch of other creatives coming in and out, food deliveries coming in and out, instruments coming in and out, just writing around the clock. I was also doing Soul at that time and doing the Late Show. And then after that 6 days, I had the vision, the blueprint became clear. In over 8 or 9 months, I finished the record, which completed the whole process around, you know, May or June, which was when I started leading the protests, and it was at the height of the first wave of the pandemic. And so that was a journey. Just the whole creation of the record happened in a very tumultuous time, and a very transitional time for myself and the world at the same time.
I want to kind of protest and the pandemic. You know, a lot of artists sometimes don't always talk about things. They kind of shy away from, you know, advocating for their people, because I feel like, you know, it's the best thing to not say something. But you have been, you know, at the forefront. You've been speaking out. You've been going to marches. You've been protesting. Why is it important for you to do that? Because some people just decide not to, and that's their own thing. But why has it been important for you to really use your voice and use your platform to speak about, you know, racial injustice and the pandemic and everything that's been going on?
Man, it's just a big thing that we live in this time where everything seems like it's for sale. You know, people seem like they're for sale. Mm-hmm. Politics, there's so much money, and there's so much. They're just everything that is supposed to protect and supposed to be moral and just and to serve the communities and serve the people, you know, is under attack in a lot of ways. But the thing about music and the arts is one of the few things in the world that's just, you can keep it pure, and you can keep it in a place where there's truth, but there's also joy, and there's connectivity, is life-affirming things about that experience that I wanted to bring to activism that I wasn't seeing. And, you know, I've always been about that. This is not a new thing for me. And I just wanted to really step up to the plate, because if I'm about all the stuff that I've represented over the last however many years I've been playing music, since I was 15 years old, then that's the time that I would be out there. Otherwise, I wasn't really about it. I just was saying I was about it, and I wasn't really about it. So, you know, that you got to test yourself sometimes.
Did you worry at all about maybe, yeah, I think I got to do, like, what was that kind of like? Was there any apprehension or anything around you?
Yeah. There was. If I would have thought more about it, I probably would have had more apprehension. But it was more of an emotional response that was just even bigger than just the emotional feeling of it. Was the feeling that it was something I was called into doing. Like it's fate. I have to lead at this point. So that was just it. You know, if I'd have thought about it, I would have been like, whoa, maybe that's not. You might mess the bag up. So step back.
And performed at this Juneteenth like celebration. What was that like? Because obviously we were in the pandemic and like things were kind of weird, but you really went out there, you performed and gave people, I think, a much needed sense of joy and proudness. What was that like?
Oh, that was a really special concert, rally, whatever you want to call it, on the steps of the Brooklyn Public Library with a young musician who I mentored, Matthew Whitaker, who I think is one of the greats, a great pianist, drummer, arranger, composer. He's 18 years old and he's visually impaired, but he's spiritually he's on a higher plane. And we played just two pianos. It felt like we were summoning something. It just felt like we were summoning something bigger than us. Juneteenth on the steps at that time. It was very special. Everybody who was there, I think, really was edified by the music.
I think a lot of people in the past year have kind of returned to your music as some sense of joy, some sense of feeling goodness. What kind of things have you turned to, like in the past year, whether it's music or movies or TV? What kind of things have you gone to kind of restore that feeling of like, yeah, I'm gonna be okay, I'm gonna be good? What are those things for you?
Oh my goodness, I always pray. You know, my faith. Also, just like I said, the arts is something that music and dance and great writing, or all the different things that feed us and feed our spiritual side, and feed our divine side, because we getting fed a lot of stuff in the world around us that feeds our lower selves, and I just feed the higher vibration. That's going to help you to at least for me, it's helped me in moments, a lot of moments of discontent during this time, you know.
Yeah, and also I don't think that people understand that you've been playing these instruments for a while. This is not something that you picked up in the past like years. So you really have been, playing these instruments. Did you ever think that your love of music and your love of the people was going to take you this far? Has this been like, whatever happens, happens?
Wow. Yeah, I try to take it one day at a time. With the creativity, I'm always thinking in the future. I'm always thinking, what can I create? What can I build? I'm inspired by the past a lot, but I like taking things from the past and blending them with things in the present to create the future. But when it comes to my daily life and where I'm going, and I just try to follow the spirit that is in control of everything, and just be in line with that. And wherever that takes me, I'll go. But I can't imagine that I would be where I am today. It's just a special calling on my life, really, that I'm very grateful for.
Absolutely. Outside of the Golden Globe and working on Soul, has there been something that is really, really like shocking to you that it happened, you're still kind of like pinching yourself to this day that it happened, outside of, Soul and the Golden Globe and that kind of special experience recently?
Wow. Everything. The reception of the film, the reception of the music that I've been putting out recently, the reception of all of the different people that I've gotten a chance to play for during this pandemic, which haven't been a lot, but between the protests, seeing people from the peaceful protesters to people in the police force, every range of person and ages, different ages of people. We played for vaccination workers at the vaccination clinics where they were doing the COVID vaccines, and play for essential workers, and play for people on the steps of the Brooklyn Library, as we were saying recently. That was in June, and I think all of it is just overwhelming. There's a lot of stuff that I'm still processing. It's hard for me to articulate the emotion that I feel, but it's just it's a lot. It's a whole lot.
A lot of young people watching this are people who also make music. I think they want to know any advice that you have for anyone who wants to be where you are, who wants to be pursuing this craft, wants to be pursuing this dream. Is there anything you would tell them that you wish someone told you years ago?
You, just the way God made you, are enough. You have it. You don't need to change anything. Just need to be humble and find that quiet time to be with God and express what it is that you have on your heart, and wait to hear what the Spirit tells you, and then just trust that quiet, trust that solitude, trust that space, and build that within yourself. Because on the outside, everybody will tell you stuff to try to convince you that you're not enough, or that your ideas or the visions you've been given are not the right vision. And you just have to know that this is bigger than us. This is from somewhere that you don't, a lot of people won't understand it. Sometimes nobody will understand it but you.
Yeah.
But as long as you do that in a place of humility and a place of love and joy too, coming from a place of joy, not to try to be happy all the time, but just be grateful to be able to create and do what it is that you're doing. And that energy, it wins every time. It wins. That just grateful intention and the connectivity to the divine source of where all ideas come from, where all creation come from. You can't lose with that, man. I'm serious, man. That's real.
Look at some of these questions that people asked.
Great.
Divvy Rock said, "What sparks your creativity?"
Oh, I get sparks from so many things. I think that what sparks my creativity is having a clear intention, because every single thing in the world becomes a library for your creative intention. Like I'm working on this thing right now. I'm trying to create these arrangements based on Cy Oliver, who was a black arranger from the early part of the 20th century. He arranged horn sections, and I'm trying to take something that he created and bring it to the future. And everything that I see right now in life is informing that. Like, you see the way that birds fly in the sky together in flocks, and it make me think about the saxophone section together. And you see things in books that I'm reading a book called Seeds of Contemplation, and just the way that they talk about sitting alone with your thoughts and what is contemplation, and how that is something that is influencing the way I'm thinking about the arrangement of the saxophone section. It's just like the way that they have to blow the air together like a meditation to be in tune together and have the right kind of intonation and vibrato. Just everything once you set the intention first, that's the key. So just whatever your artistic intention is, then you'll start to see that everything around you, when you focused on that, will feed into it.
Mystery of CMMC said, "Which musicians inspired you the most?"
I was inspired a lot by Roy Hargrove, who's a late trumpet player. He played with D'Angelo and Erykah Badu and Common. Lots of great. He was in the Soulquarians, and I played in all three of his bands when I was 19 years old. And that was a very special time for me, because I got to tour Europe and tour the world and play all types of music. Nina Simone has always been an inspiration to me. Yeah, there's a lot. It's endless. It changes all the time.
Who are your favorite artists now that are out?
Oh, wow. I like, there's an artist, it's a French artist by the name of Seoul. I like him. I've been listening to his record. It's kind of like, I don't know how to describe the music. You should just check it out. His name is Seoul. Ludi is the name of the record if you want to check it out. But I've been listening to that lately.
I'm gonna do one more question and then I'm gonna let you go. Jeez. If I've got a question, just drop it. Oh, someone said, Trav Rob 16 said, "Do you ever put a certain emotion that you're feeling into musical context? How does that process work for you?"
Say again,
do you ever struggle to put a certain emotion that you're feeling into musical context?
Yes, I think when I'm making music, I try to make the music have something about it, something built into it, like a built-in emotion, to where when I'm playing it, I don't have to feel a certain way in order for the emotion to come across. It's already there. It's like I don't have to milk it. It's pre-milked. It's that, and that actually is, in a lot of ways, is scientific. Certain frequencies and certain vibrations, when you put them together, they make people feel a certain way. And I know a lot of about music and theory and all these things, but I'm not a very theoretical person when it comes to music. I kind of try to approach it almost like a child would approach it. But through that process of discovery, you discover something that just has a spirit to it. It has a vibe, some chords and some frequencies. And then once that's there, I just build around that and build that out, but never lose that essence. That's the key. And finding those things that have that frequency and that vibration. So then it's not about what emotion you're putting into it. You just could present it, and it's there every time.
So, answering that question, thank you so much for taking that time out of your busy day to speak with us. Congratulations once again on that Golden Globe. It's major, major honor. Congrats on everything thus far and what you're going to do. You're an amazing talent. Thank you for your skills, sharing your gifts with us. Thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Hey.
All right. Thank you so much, Jon.